settled yet? Does it still feel new? Like, how do you feel right now as we're almost through spring?
I tell people the job is like the best part and the easiest part. It's settling into like the house and moving that is still challenging. But the good thing is the job's familiar, team's been great, staff's been great, so settled in here.
How do you feel the team has kind of acclimated to your coaching style and what you want to do on the court?
I feel like it's been a great transition and pretty smooth, and everybody's been excited and open. And again, it wasn't reinventing the wheel here and doing a bunch of different things. A lot of what I believe in comes from what John was doing. He was just tweaking it a little bit and making it a little bit more my own. So the team's been adapting great, and even our not so clean days, I would say, have been really high energy and great communication, and that's what you want.
You've shifted some of the job responsibilities around from the assistants. Just what has that transition been like as you coach the setters and everyone else kind of moves around?
We're all coaching everything, and that's really important to me that every player is interacting with every coach somewhat. And when we talk about position responsibilities, it's more like who is that coach, like who is that player's go-to for video or set up meetings. It's more of a point person. And then maybe, 10 to 15 minutes in practice a day, you're really working with just one coach. But other than that, everybody's involved with everybody. So it's not as like black and white as maybe football. I don't know how they run their practices exactly, but we're all interacting with everybody.
With Therese Sigler, what was your familiarity with her, like your club and USA stuff, and what did you think of her potential maybe before you got there?
I always thought she was, really high IQ volleyball player. She's super competitive and just a great six rotation player. But I didn't really watch her for the last year and a half of her prep season. She'd already committed here, so I wasn't super familiar with how she progressed. But she's been fantastic, and she's just a great player, great energy, and somebody who has the ability and the emotional capacity to go hard every single day, every single point.
Do you have your outfit picked out for Saturday yet?
Harper asked me that, and I was like, I'm going to go with what fits at this point. So no fun pregnancy blazers on Saturday.
How much have you thought about just what that day will be like for you and walking in and the reception?
I'm pretty fired up, and this wasn't on the schedule or planned to have a spring game in Devaney, but it was really important for me to get one under my belt with this team and this staff, and against an opponent that is also in a new era. I think adds another excitement piece to it with a new coach and, a young coach who's got a great reputation. And so I think it's going to be a lot of energy on both sides, and I'm really excited for it. And again, just the practice of the prep and the game day is all going to be great for everybody.
Dani, how are you making this program your own?
It's a good question. Being myself every day, being super consistent. And again, I think it's a good thing to blend what's been done here before with some new stuff, and to let the assistants have big responsibilities and big roles, and maybe a bigger voice than they've had before. And I've always been a firm believer that they need to have a huge part in all this. And so I've seen them really step up the last couple of weeks too, and that's part of my coaching style.
How have the players done with, your teaching and learning some of the new stuff, because they have been, John's kind of a creature of habit and everything was pretty routine, and now they have new ideas. So how have the players handled some of the things that you've thrown at them?
Again, they've been great, and I haven't really had any pushback. And I'm a pretty collaborative coach, and I think they're learning that. So they've gotten good at asking me for certain things, and I think they feel comfortable with that. And I think that's a sign that it's going in the right direction. And we can change things in practice or with the weekly routine, and really collaborate together.
Harper and bringing some of these now upperclassmen kind of take the younger ones under their wing and be a leader in practice.
Yeah, part of this spring that's new for this team, is the leadership roles that Merritt and Lexi, so I've been told, played, and that they're absent now. So there has been moments where it's been, I don't want, like, power struggle has a negative connotation, but that's kind of what it is. Like, okay, who's going to step up here? Who's going to develop into a leader? And the team's done a really good job of having those conversations with each other and trying to figure out what works best for them, and with a little bit of nudging from the coaching staff here and there, but they've taken the reins on most of that.
With Lexi leaving, just what have you seen from the aspiring liberos and defensive specialists?
Yeah, all four of them have done a great job. I think they're having great springs, and they're all very different, which is unique. And when we set up our 6-on-6 teams, it's been fun to kind of put them in maybe tougher situations, whether it be putting Olivia with the quieter team where she has to step up and be a vocal leader, and Lainey maybe with more of the loud voices, and see how they kind of all blend together. But all four of them have been very, very good, and you can pick out days where they've all been really impressive.
Is there a common trait and a great libero, a quality or two, even back from when you played, and great ones that you've seen that sort of have to be there?
You got to be a great passer. That's the first thing. And then you want somebody that is really confident.
What are your thoughts on having two liberos too? I know they changed the rule last year too. Is that something you've ever seriously considered, or do you like the consistency of only having one libero?
I'd always consider anything, but that would not be my choice. If you have two great liberos or three, you're going to find, I think, big roles, and I think that's where it's interesting. What's a bigger role? Is it a 3-rotation DS or just serve receiving? I think that's, as coaches, what you're trying to figure out. But I think I'd prefer just have the consistency of one libero, but always open to trying.
How much are you going to tinker with that this weekend and then next weekend, just to see what people have in different situations?
I don't know if we'll tinker with the two libero system, but we're definitely going to be giving everybody a chance, and everybody probably pretty much equal playing time across the board. So it'll be good to see everybody competing with different players around them.
How much has the prestige of that position changed since you were a libero in 2006?
I think it's changed quite a bit. It was still kind of new in 2006, a little bit. And liberos weren't even playing pro back then. It was really hard. And now, go to LOVB game and you see Lexi Rodriguez getting the loudest ovation of anybody on any team. So I think it's become a pretty big deal to be a great libero.
Coach, it's your first official game as head coach on Saturday. What's that just moment going to feel like, when the PA announcer goes, and the head coach for the Huskers, Dani Busboom Kelly, just what's that moment going to feel like, just hearing that for the first time?
Oh, it's going to be pretty surreal, and, something that you always dream could happen, but never know if it's a reality. So to hear it as a reality will be a special moment for sure.
A few more.
What's your plan for player leadership? You want to have captains named by the fall or the spring? What's kind of the timeline, and how are you going to go about doing that?
We're still working through that. It'd be nice to have at least one or two named for the summer, but I'm not going to say those are going to be the same ones in the fall. It could be, they might not be. I think this team is continually evolving and changing, and there's so many great leaders on this team that it's hard to pick one or two right now. It's more, let's use these strengths here and there and figure out what could be best as we go into the fall season. It doesn't have to be the same the entire time.
Ryan Hunter come back from her injury?
She's been good. She's been healthy, and she hasn't missed a practice, hasn't even missed a rep in a practice for her knee. So that's a great sign for her that she's healthy and able to make it through a whole practice. Again, hasn't even missed a rep because of her knee. So I think that's a pretty big deal and a great accomplishment for her.
What are her strengths?
She hits hard, and she's really physical. So if she has an open net, she's going to get a kill. So she's a great athlete, and she's going to be fun to watch develop.
How much have you and Cook gotten to communicate throughout this whole process?
We talk quite a bit, not daily, but he's around. So we, as much as we need to, I would say we talk every couple days, and he watches a little bit of practice now and again. I'll see him up in the offices looking down, so he'll give a little bit of feedback, but it's been good. It's been a really good balance of being, somebody that's there when you need them without somebody that's looking over your shoulder, you feel like is watching every move.
Up in the offices, is your office, or does he still have stuff in there?
Oh, he doesn't have anything in there.
He had a lot of stuff. I didn't know how long it would take to move it all out.
Yeah, he moved it out.
You've been around at a couple of the pro volleyball games and have had a chance to interact with the fans. What have been your first impressions of how you've been received?
How I've been received? Oh, great. Feels like everybody's really excited and definitely appreciative of the last 25 years and the legacy John left, but I don't get the vibe that people are disappointed. It's more excited to see what's new, and I think they're really excited for this team, not just me. It's like the team they've seen for the last 2 years. It's like, can we take a turn and finish it, and how much better can each player, how much more improvement can they make?
How much time are you spending in practice just teaching them the drills you want, the expectations you have? I mean, Harper says that you remind that it's also supposed to be fun during the spring too. How do you balance what you're trying to accomplish in practice?
Really just like to have a little bit of practice, be some fun drills and new drills, but then some of practice is really serious, and where, we do have to work on a few things that maybe weren't cornerstones of the program before, and, it feels like they're really starting to understand like what's important to me and the way that my teams have played. And I think the staff understands and has been really on board, and we've been working hard to enforce those. And, I've always been huge on, calling out things in the moment, not waiting till after, but all good and bad. So really working to catch everybody doing great things every day, and also pointing out areas of improvement.
Question. When you brought in another team a couple weeks ago, what were you most encouraged by after that scrimmage?
I would just say the consistency. We played different lineups every set and different players, and the consistency from the start to finish, there was like zero drop off. I think that's a sign of a great team when you can change lineups, change players, and the energy, the communication, and the level of play stays the same.
Have you seen Bergen and Campbell run a faster offense? How have they adjusted to that, the offense as a whole?
Again, it's not this crazy new offense. It's just setting it a little bit quicker. So, I think they want to set fast, and sometimes as a setter, it's a little bit easier to set faster and gives you a little more confidence. So they've been great. Campbell, she sets a very fast ball. Bergen's kind of in between, and I think they're having fun. We're doing a lot of drills where they have to be creative and try some new things, and I think they're having fun exploring those and feeling like they have a pretty long leash when it comes to running the offense.
And to give you an opportunity to share your thoughts on the tickets for the Ord match selling out in mere minutes. I know it's not the match in front of you, but your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And, being away from Nebraska for 8 years, a little bit, you forget a little bit how big of a deal volleyball is here. And then when things like that happen, it's a quick reminder how amazing it is across the state and how much it means to everybody. So besides the fact it's on Derby Day, I'm excited to go out to Ord, and I think they're going to be really impressed with this team. And also this team is just so amazing at what they feel like what they can bring to just fans in general. They're great people, and they really enjoy interacting with fans, and I think Ord's going to be a great time.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.